Welcome to another Office Hours video where I answer questions from my viewers. If you'd like to ask a question, leave it in the comment section below. I read through all of the comments, and if you've ever read the dumpster fire that is the comment section on YouTube, you know that that's something. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Steve Huynh, Meta or Uncle Steve, and I'm an L7 software engineer. On this channel, we take a structured and engineering approach to your career and life. It's all of the advice I wish someone had given me 17 years ago when I started my career, all free of charge. If you've asked a question but didn't get a response from me, head over to my Discord and post a question to the advice forum. The community there is mwah. I've been a bit slow with videos on the channel recently. If you want more from me, sign up to my email newsletter at newsletter.alifeengineer.com. I send a new issue out once a week, and there's a lot of content there that will likely never make it to the channel. Let's get to it. Marinated Lentil asks, how would you deal with situations where the company culture itself, because of stack ranking and forced attrition quotas, results in team environments where no one is incentivized to help others? I think it's easy to think of career growth as a zero-sum game, but I also think that that way of thinking is a trap. Stack ranking and forced attrition quotas are a very real thing, including at the company I work at. The idea is that performance across a large population is distributed on something similar to a normal distribution. Companies that employ stack ranking are trying to let go of the bottom 1.5 or so standard deviations from the mean. So out of 20 people, if there's a superstar that's performing really well, there's likely someone that's struggling, and it's not a good fit. It's not personal, it's just a numbers game. I'm not trying to defend the practice, I'm just explaining the rationale. Having a reputation for helping others is a good thing. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't politics at work. Not everybody has your best interests of you and the company at heart at all times. But generally, I fall into the camp that playing politics at work may pay off in the short term, but I think it's a net negative in the long run because these things catch up with you. So, to answer your question, if you've cultivated a reputation for helping others around you, you're very unlikely to be forced out. Now, if you work at a company that's toxic, where backstabbing is the norm, I would put my energy into finding a new gig rather than learning how to screw over other people. Thanks for the question. John Doe asks, can you please make a video on how to tackle the Amazon behavioral interview? John, I have. Take a look at this video I created last year called How to Tell a Good Story. My thesis is that people tell you what level they are by the types of stories they tell. So if you ask somebody about the biggest innovation of their career, and you tell them about a simple CRUD application you built in your spare time, you might not be distinguished engineer material. If you don't have good stories, then you might not have enough experience for the position that you're applying to. If you want to be a senior engineer, I would expect stories that outline your involvement in leading a team of software engineers through the ups and downs of tight deadlines, unclear requirements, being under-resourced, and dealing with show-stopping bugs in production. It's the type of stuff that a fresh-faced junior engineer just can't speak to, not because they don't have the potential, but because they don't have the unsubstitutable experience that the job requires. Don't lie and make stuff up. Tell a good story commensurate with your experience, and you shouldn't have any problems with the behavioral interview. Good luck, and I hope that we're coworkers one day. Thanks for the question. Chris Lay asks, I see that turntable setup behind you. As a 12-year club DJ veteran that just made a career change into web dev, are there any comparisons you could draw into developing my career as a developer that would relate to DJing? I'm what's known as a bedroom DJ. I play to big crowds in my head. I'll share two lessons that are applicable to both playing music and to software development. The first is that there's the type of work or music that you want to do, and then there's the type of stuff that's going to make you money and be successful. In a perfect world, those two things would align, and they should in the long run. But if you get hired for a wedding, you have to play wedding appropriate music. You get hired to play at a club, and you're the opening act. Your playlist can't all be screaming bangers. Your job is to slowly get the energy level up and to warm up the crowd. If you're the headliner, then you get to play whatever the heck you want to. It's your show. When you're hired for a job, congratulations, you're now a professional DJ or a web developer. You're getting paid, but you don't run the show, at least not at first. Do a good job for the job they hired you for. It may not be your taste, but you're a pro now. Oftentimes, software engineers take projects in selfish directions. You can be selfish when you call the shots. The second lesson is that a good DJ is always listening and trying to find new music, whether it's just released stuff or new to them. I read 1 to 4 hours a working day, whether it's a design document that a team brings to me, a book on productivity, a research paper, or something about new technology. A DJ that has their set list chiseled in stone is in the same sad place as a web dev that has concluded that Ruby on Rails is the only framework anybody ever needs. If you spend time consuming information about your craft, you'll develop your taste, and your taste will get better over time. Hope that helps. Thanks for the question. Tyler Liu asks, given that you're only 40 and you're already a PE, What are your future career goals? Well, if you asked me this question last year or the year before that, I would probably have given you a different response. So let's go over my options. 1. I could rest invests. I make decent money now, and while my job isn't easy, it's relatively comfortable. 2. I could try to make the next level, L8. At my company, that would be senior principal engineer, and it's a director level IC position. I'd get a decent bump in salary, and it's certainly doable, but I'd have to really push myself for something like the next 2 to 3 years. After that, it's only one more level before becoming a distinguished engineer. 3. I could go into management. It'd be a different job than the one I'm doing now, but it's the best path for becoming director or VP. 4. I could start my own company or join a startup. 5. I could make content full-time. 6. I could retire early now and leave a lean fire or barista fire existence. Maybe I could supplement my income further with OnlyFans. Of course, all of this is not mutually exclusive, and there are several variations. Right now, I think it would be really great if I can make content full-time as I march toward financial independence and retiring early. On the other hand, the most straightforward way to retire early is to grind the corporate life for another 10 years or so. I'm in a good place right now because I have options. We'll see how all this plays out. Ask me again in 6 months. Thanks for the question. Mincy Nishu asks, do you negotiate if they give you what you asked for the first time? This is in the context of a job offer or negotiating raises. There are 2 schools of thought on this situation. The first is that you got what you needed. Why rock the boat? The other school of thought is that there are no consequences for asking for more. If you ask for more and they say no, you're back to where you started. If there's a possibility that they would say yes, why wouldn't you do it? Well, the reason is that it's uncomfortable to ask for more, and it brings in sometimes difficult emotions into the mix. A lot of people have problems with self-worth, talking about money, and asserting themselves. So I don't think it's a cut and dry answer whether you should ask for more in every circumstance. I think it's a very personal calculus that everybody needs to evaluate on their own. I will say though that from a rational perspective, there are no consequences for asking for more. If your emotions are blocking you from doing so, I hope that you're getting the emotional support you need. You should be paid what you're worth, and I think it's a tragedy that many people settle for the first offer that comes their way. So if you can, always ask for more. Thanks for the question. Bobo Binks asks, how do you effectively self-advocate yourself for a promotion when you know you've outgrown everybody else at your current level? Promotion is an argument that you can handle more scope than the scope expected at your current level. If you've truly outgrown your existing level, your focus should be on creating tangible artifacts of next level work. What you want to avoid, and an anti-pattern that I see, is that the argument for more scope is based on reputation alone. If all of the feedback is, whenever there's an issue, I call Steve because I know Steve will do the right thing. That's a good endorsement, but it's qualitative and could be said about anybody. What you want are concrete and tangible pieces of evidence. I often say that when it comes to evidence for promotion, you want to be the world's worst criminal. A bad criminal leaves their fingerprints everywhere and drops their wallet with their ID at the scene of the crime. They talk to anybody that will listen about what they did, exactly how they did it, and why. Now, you shouldn't commit a crime or anything illegal to get promoted, but you should leave around ample evidence that you're operating at the next level everywhere you can. If you've designed and delivered an elegant solution to a complicated problem, I would expect a well-written design document and a bevy of commits. If you're a wizard with ops, I would expect tickets that document how you root-caused issues and solved problems, on top of commits that reinforce the same. What you want is a mountain of evidence to back up your argument that you could handle more scope. So, to answer your question, make sure you not only rely on reputational hearsay, not like that will hurt, but making sure to focus on creating artifacts and leaving evidence of next-level work. Good luck, and thanks for the question. KCNL asks, here's a question. How long should you wait before reapplying to a company? Well, there's a short answer and a long answer. The short one is to ask the recruiter when the next time you can apply is. They'll tell you what the shortest period for reapplication can be. The long answer is that you don't want to reapply unless something has materially changed. Every time you fail an interview, you should do your best to recount the questions that were asked, how you responded, and what the follow-up questions they had were. Then, try to figure out why your responses didn't meet their bar. Don't reapply until you have a good sense for why you didn't receive an offer and have put the work in to address the root causes. Suppose that you did this retrospective and determined that for 2 of the 3 coding questions, you didn't come up with a good solution. Everything else about the interview was good from your estimation. So then you come up with a systematic study plan to study for these problems and turn these weaknesses into strengths. Then you reapply in 6 months or whatever the minimum is for the company in question. This is a good idea because you've addressed the reason head on for why you didn't get an offer. But what if you don't know why they didn't hire you? Or perhaps they ask you a question such as design a distributed database, where you don't even know where to begin and are unlikely to be able to answer questions of that caliber. In these cases, you need to go a bit deeper. If you don't know why they didn't hire you, I would talk to others and share what transpired in the interview to see if maybe there's something that you're not seeing about how you responded. I remember a time I asked somebody about a situation where they worked with a difficult coworker, and he spent time talking about all of the terrible people that he worked with, to the point where it was pretty clear that he was the common element to all of these interactions. Sometimes you can't see the thing that is clearly apparent to others. And if they ask you a set of questions where you don't really have the slightest about how to answer them, your sights may be too high. Don't reapply until you've really understood why they didn't extend an offer. Otherwise, you're likely to have the same outcome. Good luck, and thanks for the question. Hepta12 asks, do you have any advice for a person trying to boomerang to their old company? I left a company I love to work at for more money, but I miss the culture at my old job. Assuming you left on good terms and aren't looking for a promotion with your boomerang, I think it's pretty easy to get back into your old company. If you left on bad terms, let that be a lesson about not burning bridges. The tech world is small, so do your best to be professional, even if the place that you're fleeing is toxic and you never want to come back. Things change quickly, and you may really want to return to in the future. If you're gunning for a promotion, treat the interview like you're interviewing with a new company that you don't have context with. You should have been on the promotion track before you left, so you should be able to speak to that and make sure that you have really good stories and examples from the short time that you were away to demonstrate that you're clearly operating at the next level. Don't let your prior work speak for itself. Interviewers are looking for solid deltas from your prior experience, not a summary of already documented performance. If you're trying to get your old job back, then all you have to do is make sure that you aren't exhibiting any red flags. If you left because money, you can say that, but then you need to provide a reason why you won't just jump ship again if another good offer comes through. So I might say something like, I left because they were offering me 50% more, but then when I got there, it was utter chaos, nobody knew what was going on, we never shipped anything, and I realized I missed this company. Its stability and the culture. They're obviously going to reevaluate you for a flight risk, so anything that you can say to reinforce the unique culture that you truly miss will help you in this evaluation. When speaking to each interviewer, ensure that you discuss a different aspect of the culture along with emphasizing the primary aspect to make sure that it's a compelling case. Ultimately, the decision will come down to a gut feeling from the team, so if you generally express your reasons for wanting to come back, the other side will be able to feel it too. Or it might be time to invest in acting classes. I'd like to take a second to thank today's video sponsor, Brilliant.org. Brilliant is the best way to learn math, science, and computer science interactively. Passive reading or watching videos is probably the worst way to learn something. It gives you a false sense that you understand things deeply. Brilliant has lessons on mathematics, computer science, AI, and more, with new ones added every month. If you're new to machine learning, I recommend Introduction to Neural Nets and the course on reinforcement learning. Sabina Hassenfelder, the host of Science Without the Gobbledygook, just launched a course on quantum mechanics. I love her channel, and the course on quantum mechanics is engaging, informative, and fun. There's also a course on computational biology that I have my eye on and will start soon. To try everything Brilliant has to offer, free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/lifeengineered or click on the link in the description. The first 200 of you will get 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription. I'd like to thank Brilliant again for sponsoring today's video. If you have enjoyed today's office hours, here's a link to my previous sessions. If you have a question you'd like answered, leave it in the comment section below. And I hope you have an excellent day.